All right, everyone. Hello, hello. I see people are joining us. Welcome to the after party. This is Epic Select the Q1, our very first Epic year retreat. And I am so excited that you are joining. Hello, hello. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you are joining from while I continue to let people in. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, love. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey girl, hey.
How are you?
Hi. You said how she know my name? Say
Hey,
hi.
Sunny. I know he is excited. He's
She
joining. We
know
got
your name.
I know. I'm letting Latoya in. We got a couple more people joining us. Good morning. Good
So I
morning.
didn't, first of all, I didn't know if I said yeah. I was like, it's on my calendar though. Wasn't
Listen, it is fine.
but if it's until 2, I have to go at
No worries.
1:20.
No worries. You'll get the
So
replay. So you're good. You're good. Love. Awesome. Hey, Latoya, what's going on, ma'am? Happy
What's up?
Monday. Come on here.
congratulations.
Thank you, Lindsay.
You're so welcome. Oh my God.
The
Oh my
Latoya Matthews. Come on. Let's go.
girls. I'm still on 2 Fridays ago.
You you on this. I'm still on Friday. She been
I'm
on Friday since forever. Hold on. Let me let the people in. Let me let the people in. Amanda is hopping on. I know Evelyn is going to be joining us in a little bit. Hey Amanda.
Hey
Hello.
Amanda. Hello.
Yay. I'm glad you can
Okay.
hop on. I know you may be multitasking. Because you may be in a work from home capacity. No judgment. We love you. We love you
Love you. Right.
for being
I'm in
here.
the office.
Right. So right. Latoya also multitasking as she is in the office. So I am so just grateful for everyone who will spend some time, whether you are watching the replay or you are here live for this replay. This is the after party. And I'm really excited to just jump back into everything that we went through at the retreat. The purpose of the after party for those who maybe were there live is to really anchor in and remember all of the things that we discussed there, the ahas that were there, and to ensure that we are going to take action on those things. Because one of the things that I'm really big about and have experienced personally is we can go through an experience, we can be in a room, but then when we leave the room, we're like, hold up, I was on such a high in the room and I don't even know, wait, where am I supposed to start? What am I supposed to be focused on? Like, what are next steps? And one of the big things that I wanted to ensure, or two of the things I wanted to ensure, is one, that we are not just in here for some rah-rah and then we not doing anything. That's not what this is about. That's not how to select roles. And for anybody who knows us knows, we will tap you on your shoulder for accountability. But the second thing was there are a lot of people who could not be in the room live at the retreat. And they reached out and asked if there was a virtual option. And although our first retreat, we did not have a virtual option, I still wanted to in some capacity be able to serve those women who really wanted to be there. I know Dr. PBJ, her schedule had conflict. She was going to be in the room and could not make it. So I did want to have an opportunity. Like Latoya, she was she was being a whole author out here in these streets. So she was slated to be here, but she was entertaining guests and family who had come in to celebrate her. So this is another opportunity, even for her to experience the retreat or portions of it, because again, we'll keep it high level. It won't be as long, or the conversations as long, and Amanda can attest to this, as we had in the room, because we definitely were just present and let the conversation go where it needed to go so that everybody felt like they were served. So this will be more high level, more condensed, but we're still going to go through the workbook. We're still going to make sure that you have and are able to get some really tangible takeaways from it. And I am grateful for everybody who will be watching and will go into the replay. To be a respect of your time, let me give you high level how it's going to flow. So I did my intro, my spiel. Right off the jump, I'm gonna share about Epic Select so that we can get that out the way. That way, if people are like, hey, this feels like a community that I might want to be in, if you're watching the replay, you know what the information is, you know where to go to get the information. And we can continue to dive into the workbook. And then we'll go through what our workbook looks like. Lindsay, I'm gonna try to get all of the things in so that you can be with us for that workbook portion. And then we'll end out with any action items, Q&A, and that type of thing. And then also for those who are watching the replay, I am opening up my calendar so that if you aren't live here on this virtual, because I know I have somebody who's in the air flying right now, I am opening up my calendar so that if you have a question about anything that is covered, you can hop on, we can have a 15-minute dialogue. You can get any questions answered or just have a thought partner, because that's typically what Epic Select tends to be more of. It is us coming together and thinking through different concepts, different ideas, and different things that we need to just have that person who can sit in the corner and hold space for us and say, you know what, sis, you know the answer to this. So let's talk this out so that you can come through and have the answer that you need to hear for yourself. And that's really what the Select is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screens. This is a safe space. So I know y'all are not going to judge the tabs that I have open. I'm doing good today. We're under 10, I believe, I think. Sure. So we doing good today. But I did want to go ahead and share a little bit about Epic Select. I'll make sure an email that follows shares more about the Select. And I'm really excited about this container, but because it's something different, it's something new. This community, and that's what it is. It is a community for accountability. It is a peer-to-peer mastermind. We do not focus on having a whole lot of guests come into the space because we want to get attuned to hearing our own voice, to praying for one another, for tapping in and trusting that we know what we need to do in the next steps that need to come from it. So that is what Epic Select looks like. Majority of the people who come to Epic Select has an event or an experience on their heart that they would like to do at some point in time. I like to say some point in time and not within the next year, because you may get in the Select and you may realize it is maybe not the time for me to do it to the capacity that I maybe have on my heart. And I may need to set the foundation and do steps 1, 2, and 3 before that. We do have LaToya on here, and I'm gonna call on her in a second to share 2 minutes of her experience in the Select. But for LaToya, that would look a little bit different. She got into the Select, and she also got an accountability group who can talk her through finishing this book, right? We talked through her marketing strategy. She was able to successfully launch her virtual marketing strategy for her book. And I'll let her share some of the results that have come from that experience. But peer-to-peer mastermind, I'll give you the high level. You'll have access to the Epic blueprints, Epic support, and Epic transformation. I am a peer in this mastermind group. I get to curate the space, but in no way, shape, or form am I the only master in this mastermind, okay? I love the fact that the strength and the power of this group is truly we are leaders in this group. And if that does not fit you, that is okay. This is not the group for you, but you have to be able to stand on your own and lead alongside some pretty powerful women. And because we get to be that brain trust for one another, because we get to be that safe space, and soft space, which I've heard somebody say before, it just becomes a beautiful conversation within a community of support and accountability. What's up, Evelyn? Thank you for joining us. So this is Epic Select with all of the back end bonuses that you get. Though that's great. I think a lot of the power for the community, though, comes in our weekly meetups where we share our wins, where we ask for support and we specify what support looks like for us. Because one of the things that I feel like as women in other spaces that I have seen, we do a very good job of showing up for one another when we are down, when something has happened, when tragedy has stricken, but we do not do a good job of celebrating when our book has launched, when we have increased our followership, when our mailing list has gone up, when we decided to strategically go back into the workforce so that we can better position ourselves. We don't celebrate each other during those times, but support, we'll do it when we're down. That's backwards to me. And that's not a full picture of what support should look like. And we're trying to shift that and change that in Epic Select. So all of the things, in addition with your membership for Epic Select, you get the Epic Year Retreat. That's kind of why you're here. We just had our Q1 gathering in Atlanta, Georgia, which was so much fun. And if anybody's interested in joining the Select, you still have 4 opportunities to join the retreat. Yes, the retreats are included in your membership. All you need to do is get yourself there. And your accommodations that you'll have there. We'll give you options for that to make it flexible for you, but your retreat is included in your membership, and you also will get sent the link so that you can go ahead and apply to be in the select. For those who maybe have already applied, I'll just share, you'll have an opportunity when that email comes through. You can just reply and say, hey, I'm ready for next steps, and I'll send you what those next steps are. Before I bring LaToya up, I will say this after party comes with a bonus if you are looking to join the Select and you know that you want to do this. The annual investment, I believe, is $4,200. Because you are part of the after party, you have $500 off, and that is with the code EPIC50. So if you are going to join us for the annual, you include EPIC50. Boom! I take public math. I believe that brings you down to $3,700 for the year. Okay, so LaToya, I would love to bring you up, and if you can unmute, share a little bit about your experience with the Select, and then we can dive on into our recap from the retreat.
Listen, okay, so being a part of Epic Select is really something that I've really haven't experienced with community before, because you say you have community and then it's like you're just in there and nobody's really talking, nobody's supporting anybody, but this has been totally different. The book launch was just an idea. I haphazardly mentioned that I maybe want to do a worship night, and that maybe want to do a worship night began the role of everything that got me until last, a couple of Fridays ago. And, there's been countless of times that I've cried on our Epic Select meetings, because it was just, it was overwhelming with writing the book. But this accountability helped me to put things together, and just being able to, because I put on my own events, retreats and everything. So to have Bree to come on and do that for me and not have to take care of that, for the thought of my husband saying, ma'am, you are not doing your own book launch. I need you to hand this over. Okay, that was hard, but may have had a little sarcastic, things to say, but but it was so worth it, because the ideas that flow, like, this is really Holy Spirit led. Like, this is really like women truly operating in their zone of geniuses, and the ideas just get to flowing, and it just all came together so beautifully to have the Unveil Freedom worship night of worship and book launch, and just having these women to hold me accountable on those days where I'm just like, nah, I don't feel like doing this. And then they're like, nah, ma'am, you got to do it. Like, there is no other option. But, and just to see women, I'm being vulnerable here, but to just see women travel for me on a book launch, like, that meant a whole lot to me, and just let me know that I am a big deal. Like, okay, sis, like this is happening. Like you are a big deal. And yes, the LaToya Matthews, okay. But just seeing, the ideas and it all coming to fruition, and even at the book launch, just having those ladies execute in excellence. Like everybody who came to the retreat thought that, came to the book launch, thought that Evelyn Jatia, they thought they were a part of Bree's team. Like they thought that they were a part of her business. And it was like, no, this is community. And this is how they showed up for me and showed up, in there. But not only that, we were able to get them content that they can use for their businesses also. And it was one of those things, like I didn't even have a second thought, because other women would have been like, no, this is my night, like how dare y'all pay for this space, how dare y'all try to use space to get content. But it was a no-brainer for me because of everything that they poured and deposited into me. Why wouldn't I want to be able to help them to succeed while they're helping me, to succeed? So it was an epic night. As soon as I walked in, it was everything. It exceeded my expectations. And I'm simple elegance, like simple luxury, and that's what it gave. Even somebody told me without knowing, they was like, this was just like simple elegance, like simple excellence. And that, made me feel so good, because Bree just took the vision and executed it, and it just all just came to fruition. And just being able to sell the books on pre-order, and also being able to almost sell out of books the night of the book launch. And so, it was just like, I think I may have had a 4-figure book launch, and I'm so excited, about that. So I'm just super grateful for the Select, and just having women that have, all of y'all, Amanda, Lindsay, I've been knowing y'all since 2020. Like, we've been on this journey for a while now. And so just to have women to stay along on this journey with me has been, amazing, to say the least.
LaToya, you know how I feel. Look, I so appreciate you sharing your experience with the Select. And for me, LaToya in the Select represents a full cycle of being in the Select. Someone that is in the group, has an idea. You're right. Don't slip up and say that you're thinking about doing something.
Please don't slip up.
Don't slip up and say you try and
Just
change the world while you in the Select, because the women will gather around you and ask how they can help, think through solutions. How do we market? How do we make this thing a reality? Because we believe in you, the LaToya Matthews, because we believe in you. And it was beautiful to see the full cycle from being in there, learning it, like co-creating things together, and then seeing the action being taken out into social media and virtual in these virtual streets, right? And then not just the book itself, but yes, she put out the book that was one of the products, just like Evelyn, who we'll hear from in a little bit, because I do want her to share about the retreat. But Evelyn launched the podcast. LaToya launched her book. People are producing things and not just saying like I'm gonna, or when I'm going to. It's not a gonna. You can't speak that in this group, right? We are going to be encouragers. We're going to be supporters. And the reason why LaToya is a beautiful example of that full circle is because she had her event. She had that launch. And I think the best thing that you said out of all of that had everything to do with the way that we support. The Select showed up and was in the room, and I was telling them to go sit down, and they like, no, this our girl. We got this. Like, what do we need to do? What do we need to, how can we help? Because oftentimes, as we desire to step in our lanes of genius, right? As we desire to just show up and shine, we don't have the support to do that. And I can see LaToya show up differently at her book launch, because one, she knew I was there and I had her back from an event standpoint, and she knew that the Select was there to stand, to hear her as she shared the book, to do whatever was necessary, and to just show up for her. And I think that's the difference when it comes to this community. That's the difference that comes with the Select. And that's why I'm really, really excited to just see if people are interested in continuing to join us in the select. The doors are open. We'll talk about how you can do that. And again, you'll have a follow-up email that shares information about how you can be a part of the select. But I'm so grateful and so proud of LaToya, because even though she's at a full cycle, she went from ideation, marketing to actually launching her event and is still in the select. Listen, we just sitting around waiting to see what her next cycle is going to look like. Because we already said this is a new season, and what that may look like moving forward for her is talking about how she is integrated into existing events, because everything doesn't have to be your own, right? How does she get her table at the back of the room so she can continue to do what she's doing? How can she have virtual opportunities that keeps the interest going in her event? So that is just one example of the select. And now, since we 20 minutes in, we about to jump into this workbook. You should have gotten your copy in your email. I will probably send a follow-up copy just to check on y'all later in the week, so that it is a fillable PDF, and you can really get in here. And for those joining again or watching the replay, you'll see your copy. Yes, ma'am, LaToya, I see your hands up.
Yes, I know I have the physical copy, but can I get an email copy too?
Yeah, you should have got that in your email. If not, I'm going to send it again when I send the replay.
Okay, well, my manager always talking about me not reading emails, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you might have it, girl. It's fine. I got you. I will make sure everybody has a electronic copy. This is the workbook that we'll be going through. And again, just highlighting the beautiful members of the select who are in there. We have quick blurbs about who they are, how they serve, and where they like to play. Connect with them on Instagram. Go ahead and connect, because we have some brilliant minds in this select. Our guests who joined us for the retreats, Amanda and PBJ, additional beautiful women who you should connect with. And really just help guide the conversations and the experience that we had in the room. So we do have two elements to the retreat. We had a portion where I was leading, and then we have co-creation opportunities. And so I'll walk you through these first sections and highlights. I will give you time to actually work on them if you have not, or if you're watching the replay and you have not actually worked through these. You will do those on your own, but I will explain each of the prompts, explain each of these areas to think through. And then I'll also explain at the very end of the book, which I have my physical copy here. You actually have a planner that helps you to execute for the next 4 months, because our next retreat will be in 4 months. So you have the tools that you need. If you didn't spend money on a planner, go on and save it, because you have a planner in the back of your book that you can utilize alongside a journal. I do encourage you use this with a journal, and you'd be good to go, unless you do want to get a spring for a planner, girl, because that's cool too. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. The first exercise that we worked on was a letter to self from 2025. This was really important to start with, because one of the things that I can say that I do as a futuristic person, we like to think 10 years out. We like to think 5 years out. We like to think, way further out. And the reality is, I would love for us to just take time and just focus in on a year from now. What is it that we want to tell ourselves, or what are we going to thank ourselves for putting into action today that your 2025 self lives in? And some ladies felt like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I'm not doing this right. But this letter should be written from Evelyn, Amanda, Lindsay, LaToya, Amy of 2025. So you imagine you are in 2025 writing a letter to yourself today. That is what this exercise is. And what you'll find when you take the time to pause is that you will communicate specific things that you are proud of yourself. You'll share a glimpse into what a year from now will look like for you. You may thank yourself for some stuff. You may be telling yourself that the decisions that you made before actually did all work together for your good, right? But it gives you that forward thinking from 2025, just a year away, not too far out, but gives you some encouragement for today. So that is what that letter is for. And I'll pause to see, because Latoya, I know you still need to do your letter to yourself from 2025. I'll see if there are any questions. And really what we experienced in the room is there's no wrong way. There's no wrong way to write this letter. And actually, I will share a clue, if you will, but as you reread your letter, because I encourage you, and for my ladies who have already done this, reread the letter from yourself, because you will prioritize in your letter some of the things that you need to focus more and be more intentional about this year. I'll say that again. The clues that you'll find in your letter, the focus that you communicate to yourself through this letter, are clues of things that you need to be very intentional about right now. So that is my encouragement for your letter to self. I'm gonna pause to see if anybody has any questions about letter to self. And if not, we will continue to roll through. Beautiful. Our next session that we had some fun with is all about our possibilities brain dump. Now, if you have heard anything about all things epic, you know that I am here for experiences with purpose, impact, and community. And one of the things that I truly and deeply believe in as it comes through Epic Select, as it comes through anything that I touch, is that we need to be more intentional about designing our lived experiences. For me, the way that you can identify a true experience, whether that be at an event or in your life, is based off of the 5 senses. So that is why you see that depicted here. And this is a great way for you to do some thought mapping and to just kind of think through each of the 5 senses. So when you are creating your lived experiences, we're looking at the key elements that make this up and make your life unforgettable and one of a kind. So you are thinking through, what are the things that you want to see in your lived experience? What are the things that you want to smell in your lived experience? And most times people are not like, girl, I don't know what I want to smell. But you know what? That might be a fragrance that you desire to purchase. That may be your mama's cooking that is on the stove. That may be, you get what I'm saying? It may be experiencing something new. It may be fresh flowers that you wish to have on a regular, whatever that looks like. Going into taste. What are the things that you want to taste throughout your lived experience? What are the sounds that you want to hear? Right? And what are the things that you want to touch and physically hold in your hand or brush up against? What does that look like for your lived experience? So one of the exercises that we did, we looked at all 5 of these senses so that we can get clear on what we want our lived experience to look like. I'm actually going to pause here, and Amanda, no pressure, but I'm going to ask you to unmute because you did this exercise. Share a little bit about what you learned through doing this exercise, or maybe something that you didn't expect through coming through and doing this exercise.
Definitely. I think I was surprised how many things I could come up with, honestly. And how many, so we noticed that, so Bree had us note which sense we had more things come up from. And so for me, that was touch and sight. And seeing that was really interesting. And honestly, since our retreat, I've noticed myself prioritizing touch so much more and like
Yes.
taking note of that, which is so interesting, whether it's like the touch of my warm mug because it's been freezing here in Atlanta, and like the coziness of that, or sheets or my sweater. And so that's been really interesting post this. What else?
Let me jump in right there, Amanda. One of the other things, aha moments that we had in the room with doing this, and by all means, I can't wait for you guys to share, and please do share, like, what were your top, what was the top sense that you maybe came across as you were, and there's one of them or two of them that you're going to be like, okay, it just starts flowing for you. A lot of the connection point that we saw here also is that sense that maybe you feel like I'm flowing and I have a lot to say about. It may be tied to your love language. So if anyone has ever, or if you're unfamiliar, let me address it from that angle. If you are unfamiliar with the 5 love languages, that is a book that was written by Dr. Gary Chapman, and he goes through and he articulates how we express and receive the communication of love in different areas. And there are 5 different areas that we experience love. Similarly, we have 5 senses. So even as you talk about in your lived experience, what it is that you want to see and hear and smell and touch and taste, that may be a clue to tie to the 5 love language, that one of the 5 love languages, that this may be the season that you're leaning more into. Can I just give y'all a bonus real quick though? Oftentimes we think those love languages are how we need to communicate to other people to love us, right? The power punch here is we aren't being intentional about loving ourselves. So like Amanda was saying, touch was something that was high on her list. So in her day to day, she is even taking moments to like enjoy the touch of certain elements, and in being intentional about adding that sense more into your day and into your lived experience. You have the power to shift the experiences that you are living because you're leaning into the things that you prioritize. And it's gonna look different for everybody. Like I went ahead, and I'm probably not gonna be able to show this, but I have flowers on my desk because that was something that I wrote down that I wanted to see. I visually like to see the fresh flowers, and that comes with a scent that fills the room. Like that was something that I wrote on my list. And because it was something that I wrote on my list during the retreat, when I got home, I was like, oh, well, I know what I need to do for myself to have the lived experience that I desire. I need to go buy these flowers, right? It makes it very clear, in a clear line, so that when you are feeling down, when you are not feeling like you in your zone, when you can go back to this list and be like, hold up, what do I need? What site do I need to add? What smell do I need to add? What taste do I need to add? And I'm gonna bring up Evelyn, because with taste, she always makes me think of at her retreat. She like, sis, if you need a cookie, just eat the cookie. Stop waiting and depriving yourself, and then you're going to end up going over and beyond on these cookies. Just treat yourself to one cookie, right? If that is the taste that you need. And it's about satisfying ourselves and knowing and being thoughtful enough to take care of ourselves and integrate the senses that we need the most. So I'm going to pause here for a second. We've gone through these 2 exercises. I will say the next 2 are similar in nature. And they talk more towards leveraging virtual and live events. It's a very similar exercise for you to go in and brain dump. What would an epic event look like? What would an epic experience look like if you were to do one in 2024? It is a brain dump. And again, I would love, even after this, when you do fill this out, share what came up for you when you did this exercise. What would you love to do at your event, in your experience? And the follow on for that is, again, we are about all things epic here. we're going back to those 5 senses. So at the virtual or live event that you have in mind, how are you going to be intentional about designing a true experience? Not an event that people gonna forget about, but integrating these 5 senses into your event. That's how you make it a signature experience. That's how you make it one of a kind. That's how you up level it so that people have something that they can attach a deeper memory to, because you are tapped into something visual, something that they could touch, something that they heard, something that they smelled. And even virtually, we can talk through, if somebody wants to sidebar, how do I integrate this in a virtual experience? Listen, we got ideas for days on that one. So we can definitely talk about that. So I will pause here. I'm going to bring Evelyn up, share some of your, since you were actually at the retreat, share what your biggest takeaway was from the retreat and kind of what was different for you as it related to other experiences that you've been to.
I don't know if I can name just one takeaway. I'll say this. The difference for me is in this cohort, I don't ever feel the need to come on and just talk about like business strategy or leveling up in that way, right? Because I think I'm fully stepping into the fact that everything that I desire is rooted in who I believe that I am, right? So when I come to you on Thursdays and we start talking, there's some times where it's like, listen, I don't know what to do with X, Y, and Z, or I'm launching this podcast and this is the support I need right now. But sometimes, like right before our retreat hit, it was like, listen, I'm struggling with my husband and I need you guys. And it was like instant. I felt just hugged, like virtually hugged, knowing that I don't ever have to show up as my best self, the one that, you know, people expect you to be. I just have to be. I can show up high energy. I can show up full of ideas. I can show up vulnerable. I can show up hurt. And every single time I'm received in the same way. So that's one thing about this community that I'm incredibly grateful for, because I just know that who I am is always enough. That's all I have to be. But also knowing on the business side of it, there is no like having to, and you guys just reminded me of this as well, there is no constantly having to seek out an expert to guide me to my next level because I'm surrounded by them, right? If I walk in here, I can ask Bree anything that has to do with event planning. I can talk to Jatia about anything that has to do with like strategy. You know, anything that I need, someone here is well versed in. And if we don't have the answers, we find it for each other. So it's like finally recognizing that I don't need to seek out the expert because I am her, right? I am her. I am the person that I'm supposed to be, surrounded by the people I'm supposed to be surrounded by. Now, for the retreat itself, one thing I talked to you about was I've been to many retreats and many events, and I always feel uplifted, motivated, excited while I'm there. But sometimes it's like I am on this high while I'm there, but then the emotions are high and then the come down is hard. And I leave thinking, damn, I had all these ideas in my mind that I was going to implement. And now I feel like I'm coming down so hard from all the things that I felt that I actually took no action when I got home. So with this retreat, I felt like it was a perfect balance of talking through strategy, talking through our visions, talking through the personal stuff that can help, you know, it could either like keep us stuck or keep us moving. But then actually being able to like come home and implement like I'm sure you're going to get to it in the workbook, but the contentcation, like that was a game changer for me. I just felt like content planned, right? So I feel like the big difference for me was, yes, there's emotional highs. We talked about every facet of life. And I got some wine, and some coffee, but also I left with the motivation to implement. I didn't feel mentally and emotionally drained. I was able to just go.
I love that. And I love that you speak to the personal and the professional side, because that's really what the select is. And especially at this retreat, and spoiler alert, the retreats are designed to be a support to one another in all the best ways. We intentionally had it butt up against Latoya's event so that people could be in town to support, right? We intentionally keep the conversation in the room to like, let's just focus on like, what's the one thing, right? Because we can go to events and it's like, let me give you strategy, marketing, positioning, that, like, that's a lot, friend. That's a lot. And we're about massive action, and we're also about accountability. I would not be doing you a good serving you well, let me say it that way. I would be doing you an injustice is what I wanted to say, but I would not be serving you well if I gave you a million different things to be thinking about and then be expectant of you to take action steps out of the millions of things that I have given. So the focus on this retreat, and we did a pulse check in the community to see what did people truly need. And based off of the need that people had, one, that lived experience personally was really important. Two, having the opportunity to brain dump, what is that one experience that I might want to put out into the world and invite people into my world, right? How can I continue to leverage my thought leadership, create an experience, whether that is virtual or in person, so that I can position myself, right? And a lot of the conversation, and Amanda can attest to this, a lot of the conversation that happened in the room wasn't a linear line to any one outcome. It was truly, we spiraled around different concepts around how we had given our authority to other people, how we had prioritized other people's voices over ours. We did a spiral around what does being in this entrepreneurial life look like today? Does it look like me going and taking a job? And for some people, that was true. Does it look like I am all in on this thing and I just need to communicate my offers more frequently? That is true for some of us. Does it look like position ourselves to work with more corporate? That is true for us too. And I always love the open dialogue because we know the answer for ourselves. We cannot just one size fits all everything. That's not how the economy flows. If you pay attention to the marketplace, you see a whole lot of people making shifts based off of what the market is doing, and you have to know what shift is right for you. So thank you, Evelyn, for sharing that. We can jump into contentation because I do want to be a respecter of our time, and I really do want to highlight another select member who is Michaela. She could not join us today. She on West Coast time, so sis is probably sleeping in, and I am excited about that because she does need to incorporate more rest. That was a part of her lived experience that she was designing. What you got, Latoya?
She on the plane, sis. She go.
Oh, okay, she on a plane. Listen. But that was one of her lived experience, but I'm grateful to her because in the select, as a part of our retreats, we always love to highlight the people who are there. And Michaela had an opportunity to bless us with contentation, and it is a breakdown of the framework of, and she customizes it. Listen, if you know the genius of Michaela, okay, she broke it down specific for us. So Michaela was our guide for contentation. We have 4 stations, and the way that you implement this at home, if you are watching the replay, pick 4 locations that you would like to do this in. It can be in different parts of your house. It could be outside. It could be in a library. It can be at your favorite sitting area, maybe in a mall, like any of the places work. Contentcation can apply to you. And the output after you go through this process is you will have 24 pieces of content. The goal for contentcation is to not just say we're going to do a thing, and we are preparing you and equipping you with the assets that you need to make a thing. Okay. So you need to know your call to action, and the prompts will walk you through how to get these 24 quality pieces of thought leader content. That is the goal, right? It's not about the fluff. It's about getting to the thing and truly communicating what you do, how you serve in the marketplace, so that people can find you, be attracted to you, and want to invest in you, regardless of what that offer may look like for you, whether it's product, service, or otherwise, or program. So this is Epic Select. So our content model is select. It is share, enjoy, list, educate, create, and talk. That is what is guiding the prompts for each of the sections. So you have this in your workbook, and then we break down for each of the stations what that looks like and what you need to do for each station. So for example, and the 4 stations are based off of EPIC, experiences with purpose, impact, and community, right? So the first station, if you will, is focusing more so on experiences. So some of the props, excuse me, that you'll need for this station is laptop, phone, and if you have anything else that maybe will share your brand, right? Anything else that you need for your brand. And then for the first prompt, S, you're going to share a life experience that shapes who you are, right? This is just 30 or 60 seconds of you turning on your camera and utilizing this prompt. And now you have a video that you can put out into the world. The next one, just to give you a couple, I'll bounce around. I'll go down to L, right? And it's talking about taking 4 pictures, and from that you'll get a carousel, right? And it's giving you what you're doing with the 3 ways to experience, and then you're going to insert the solution that you provide, right? And it's showing you. So literally, if you follow step by step what the prompts and you just fill in the blank with the problem that you solve, the solution that you provide, and speak to the prompts that are given to you, you will already have content, again, thought leadership based content that is speaking to the need of your audience, and also sharing a little bit about you personally. So that's experiences, purpose. Again, that first prompt, my purpose is to, right? And you're going to have a 30 to 60 second video on that. And she literally has laid out all of the things that you need to do. What I learned as a result of purpose is, right? And you can speak to these different things. If you are ever stuck and you don't know what to post, go back and look at these, because these 24 prompts can turn into 48 real quick if you add different spins on each of the things. Same thing with impact. I'll share one of the prompts that she has. She says, take a picture of yourself, insert. So you want to insert your industry in all of these. Insert your industry, podcast do you enjoy listening to? Comment below. These posts, these content also is encouraging engagement with your audience, because we know we need people to talk back to us so that we can know. And even from that, let's take it a step further. Based off of the podcast that they're enjoying, maybe sis, that is a podcast you need to position yourself to be a guest on, right? Let the people tell you what is another touch point that you can have to build your authority with them. That know, like, and trust. Let them tell you. Right? So these are the different prompts for contentcation. It is all in your workbook. Evelyn, especially for you, love, I made sure that station 4 was updated for community. So thank you for that. So I have those prompts up there for community as well. Share how you create community in your industry, right? That's 30 to 60 seconds. Create a reel by recording 30 to 60-second videos. And then the text that you'll have before you can pour out, you must pour into, right? So she's giving you prompts, she's giving you different ways that you can just create thought leadership in your space. That is contentcation. And then we had a section for notes. So that is high level, all of the things that we talked about and engaged in from a workshop standpoint within the retreat. I'm going to pause to see if anybody has any questions as it relates to contentcation. And I will also encourage anybody who is watching the replay, if you want to connect with the brilliant mind, the powerhouse herself, Michaela, please do. I will make sure I put her contact information in there, because one thing that we love to do at the Select is to champion and share the brilliant minds that are here. So please, please, please reach out to her. She is an expert in storytelling. She is able to distill and pull out a process, a framework in a million different ways. So I highly, highly encourage you to reach out to Michaela. If you are interested in getting, even she built that and blessed us with that. Okay. So if you need something like that for yourself, for your curriculum to share with your community, again, Michaela, right? So I did want to just pause to see if anybody has any questions. And if not, I'm gonna go through the planner the planner portion of your workbook. Awesome. And Lindsay, I'm watching your time, sis. I'm watching your time. So this is the Epic Year month by month planner. It was really, really important to us, especially for this first retreat, to not just talk about the lived experience, not just think through how we can leverage events in our businesses, and not just get a bunch of dope content. I needed to give you a guide and an outline of how you can make this executable, right? Because I see you, love. We need to make sure that it is executable. So that is what this Epic Year month by month planner is all about. So with the planner components, you'll see I have an intro here. It lets you know what Epic is: experiences with purpose, impact, and community. And then the method that we utilize as we go through each month is benchmark, build, bolster, and blueprint. That is what you will do each month to ensure that you are staying on track. What benchmark looks like is you're going to identify what is and is not working each month. Because oftentimes we wait to the end of the year to try to figure out what is working and what is not working. Telling on myself, okay? Telling on myself. So as opposed to waiting to the end of the year, we should do this each month, because that is how we stay accountable to ourselves. And one of the things that I found is that we will keep our word to other people more than we will keep our word to ourselves. And the only way that we can determine if we are building integrity with ourselves is by going back and keeping a record and making sure we are doing the things that we said that we were going to do. So that is benchmark. Build is phase 2, and it's all about developing goals and customizing your weekly strategy, right? So this is you thinking through how do you set yourself up for success. Bolster, listen, if you know anything about the CARE method, which we'll go through here in a little bit, I am all about support, right? We are not meant to be out here as lone rangers. That is not what that looks like. And there may be areas of support that we need to lean into, whether that be coaches, whether that be therapy, right? Like there are areas of support that we really do need to look at. It can be community, but if we are not identifying what support we need, then we will continue to just float out here untethered, because we haven't identified like, hey, what is that missing piece? And the book that I know Amanda and I have read through, and I would encourage others to, we are so focused on how are we going to do a thing, and we need to be more focused with who, not how. It's a really good book. I encourage y'all to read it, but we need to be thinking about the who's and not as focused on the how. So shameless plug. Yes, thank you, Amanda. She's got the book up in the screen, Who Not How. It's a great read, and it'll open your mind, and it really has changed the game for me as I look at support and as I look at being intentional even with this community. The final piece of this framework is the blueprint. So we are committing and prioritizing our actions so that we can make progress. That is what the blueprint is all about. And then you'll see how that is broken down for each month. So January, each day I create my epic year. That is the mantra, if you will, that I have for that particular month. And then you go through the framework, benchmark. We start off with gratitude, and then you will talk about what is working and not working in these different areas. If you notice, yes, we want you to identify what is working and not working at home. This is not just, again, this is a holistic concept, because if things are not working at home, it will impact this next section, work and business, right? What is working and what not working personally in the projects that you may be managing or executing, what is working and not working. And then I did give you an other category so that if there was something that you don't feel like falls neatly into any of these, you have another space to kind of evaluate that, right? So you're going to identify areas to praise and areas to make progress. Okay. We don't take L's, we learn lessons. Nothing that has not been working is an L. And we need to reframe our thinking in that area. So if there are things that are working well, make sure you praise yourself for that in this section. If there are things that you need to make some progress on because it didn't quite work, write down here what you will be tweaking, right, in that particular area. This is the CARE method. So that is how we are going to build our epic experiences, right? And that's careful consideration, assess the foundation, reinforce the structure, and engage and trust. So this walks you through different questions to ask yourself as you are building for the experience that you want to live into for that particular month. Bolster, we're talking about support. Listen, emotional support. We need to name names here. Who, or what resource are we utilizing, right? So emotional, physical, right? Occupational, spiritual, intellectual, social, right? Because let's not be hermit crabs out here trying to run businesses and then you have no social life and you don't have hobbies and you look like, it is a whole person concept. You need all of these elements, right? Financial support, right? Environmental support. Now, this area, I would encourage you to put some spaces, right? Because support for me sometimes may look like I love my neighborhood and I need to know how many times I've gone outside and taken a walk, right? And if I'm not out in nature and exposed to different environments, then I may be grumpy. let me put it like that, right? So environments, this who may be more of a what for you. So that is that portion. Bolster, another way that we're going to bolster, not just with the support, right? But we will also bolster by looking at this checklist of income producing activities, especially for my business people out there. People always say, focus on income producing activities. And for me, I might know what that is, but sometimes I just need the checklist in my face that tells me what it is so that I can remember what I am supposed to be doing. So here is a checklist to kind of each month look at, am I doing the needle moving activities that I need to be doing? And I have a date. You write the date of the things that you have been doing. Again, this is just a list of things to consider so that if you ever feel like I'm just stuck, sis, I don't really know. what I need to be doing to increase my income, or what may be an income producing activity. Look, here we go. Spoiler alert, we gave you some ideas. And then the last component of this planner is week by week, we have you blueprint. Big notes here. Priorities. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please don't be an overachiever and try to fill out all 5. 5 is your max. Like, this box is small on purpose, because if you have too many priorities, then you don't have a priority. I'll say it again. If you have too many priorities, you do not have a priority. So I would encourage you to just have 1, maybe 3. I gave you grace and gave you 5 spaces. Don't be an overachiever in that area, right? So, and then it has you just going through to blueprint. Sunday, what is my focus? Monday, what is my focus? Tuesday, what is my focus? Wednesday, what is my focus, right? Thursday, Friday, and then let's look ahead next week. What am I focused on next week? Because what may happen is something that fell off of the priorities may be a next week focus that you push forward. You have a space for to add any reminders for the week that you absolutely need to have on there. That can be in relation to meal prep. That could be in relation to a doctor's appointment, because that is a crucial element. We need to be more mindful and on top of keeping care of ourselves. I'm talking to myself while I'm talking to y'all. So that is, and then we have a notes area for you to write any additional notes that maybe did not fit neatly in one of those categories. Again, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then guess what? We are starting the process all over again for the next month. Repetition is the way that you will be able to see that difference in your lived experience. And our goal is not to just come together and talk about the things that we want to do. We want to see you look different, sis. Like, we really desire to see you look different. If Jatia was on here, she would be talking about the becoming. She would be talking about the person that is inside of you right now, who is waiting for you to do the things that is necessary so she can show up and shine, so that she can step forward, and so that she can lead you to your next level. That is what this planner is all about. That is what these exercises are all about. And that's what the focus was in for our Q1 retreat. So listen, we got that all covered in under an hour. I'm so proud of us. I'm going to pause and see if anybody has any questions as it relates to the workbook, or any takeaways that you may want to share from the experience that we had at the retreat. Lindsay, do you have any questions, thoughts as it relates to the workbook?
Not the workbook. How often, in the select, like, how often do you meet? Is it every Thursday virtually?
Yes.
Okay. What time?
Every Thursday virtually we meet. It is at 11 p.m. Central, so similar to the time frame that we are meeting right now. Every Thursday we hop on. Those calls are typically an hour, and people get real cranky with me when I be like, okay, we gonna cancel the call for the holidays. They like, no, no, we're not. We're still gonna meet. So whether you can make it or not, we are always there each week at that time frame, holding space for one another. I'll give you a high level of kind of how those calls are set up. You come on, people are sharing their wins. If people try to hide on the call, we will call you out. Like, you have a win. Like, even if you woke up and showered, sis, win. Okay. Did you show up for yourself? Did you nourish yourself? Win. So we encourage everybody to share wins so that they can be in a position to receive praise, to receive celebration. And then we also share ask what support they are looking for in that week. And oftentimes it's prayer. Oftentimes it's I'm gonna post this thing and can you share my thing? And other times it's what are your thoughts on this? Can someone help me think through this process or this thing that I want to do? So that looks different week to week. It is very casual and conversational, because we care more about hearing people's hearts and building community than a specific set agenda. There are times on the call where it will turn into Latoya giving a whole message, right? And then we go into prayer, right? So it just fluctuates, but consistently every Thursday, that is where we meet. And then as we and I do want to note this really quickly, in the month of February, one of the Thursdays out of the month, I will be teaching the signature events course live. That is another tool that'll be in your back end that you can tap into whenever you are interested. But I will be taking some time one Thursday out of each month, and I'll send y'all the information on what that looks like and what Thursday that will be, in case people are like, yeah, I just need to tune into that like just make sure I could be on that Thursday. I'll be teaching that live, and again, that'll be another resource that'll be in the back end. And the other little note, let me add while my brain is working. The members of the Select are going to have access to something that I'm really, really excited about putting out, and that is our purposeful planning playbooks. One of the things that I have been struggling with as it relates to seeing women in thought leadership not show up is people don't know what the first steps need to look like. And I was like, well, Lord, does that need to look like a course? Does that need to look like a program and all this stuff? And honestly, for people to get started, I really just feel like they need a playbook. So I'm developing playbooks that are based off of specific strategies. There's a quiz that will go alongside that if people are like, well, girl, I don't know what strategy I need right now. So for example, if you're like, profitability is my primary objective for this event, there will be a playbook that gives you ideas of the type of event that you need to execute and how you make it profitable. And in the playbook will be your budget sheet, your timelines, and your request for proposal, what that needs to look like, how you evaluate your venue. You may not have that if it's virtual, but it literally is a compilation of all the things that you will need to build your event. If you are like, I am just starting out, I need to DIY this, or I'm going to secure this and I'm going to delegate this to a member of my team to figure it out for me, so that I do have support with the event. But that is another bonus that members of the Select will have access to. You'll have access to a playbook of your choosing. And that is something that I'm very excited. We'll be rolling out officially in March for that one. Playbooks, that way, if anybody is just like, hey, I don't know where to start on a retreat, there's a playbook for that. I don't know where to start on having a virtual event, there's a playbook for that. I see you, Latoya, over there in the background.
No,
But
honestly.
because really, and I want to make it attainable, and I know everybody is not going to hire B. Carroll Events, and I appreciate that everybody is not going to hire B. Carroll Events, but there's no I don't want that to be somebody's hindrance for not starting. And I
Yeah.
also don't want people to fall and fumble starting and not do again, right? So all of these playbooks are going to leverage strategy. Again, it is purposeful planning. There will be several probably red sections that say, sis, if the numbers are not numbering and the math is not mathing, we are not going into debt for this, right? We need to create and engineer a new solution in this area. If it's red when you get to this box, your math is not mathing, right? Yes, exactly. It's got a math. And
Yes.
because I'm tired of seeing people who want to look the part go in the hole trying to look the part, speaking for myself, okay? Go in the hole trying to look the part, and then it is not profitable, and then it impacts other areas of your life, personally, professionally, in your marriage. We're not doing that. So that's my rant on playbooks and the things that are to come. So,
Okay.
any other questions, thoughts? Amanda, you got anything from us, takeaways from the retreat?
I had so many takeaways from the retreat. It's kind of ridiculous. And like the days leading from the retreat, everyone checked in, and I was like, this is so nice. And I needed it. I think Bree knows this from just life. And also it was part of the text that you had sent me of, be mindful this week because stuff's going to come up. And you were so right. So one of the things we talked a lot about at the retreat that really impacted me was around worthiness. And especially as we start to shift how, or at least for myself, like shifting how I'm thinking about my business and my offers, and that it's about the experience of me. And that feels so uncomfortable, like even just saying it right now. And so, and so really looking at what does that mean and what are the blockers that I have in really allowing that and believing that and leaning into that. And immediately, and that you are the gift, that I am the gift, that I am the event. Woo! And and it was very much right after that I had an experience that was like gift rejected, and I was like, whoa, this feels awful. And when I thought about it, it wasn't that like the tangible gift was rejected, it was the experience I had felt had been rejected. And so that helped me really solidify the things that we were talking about in a really tangible way that didn't have to do with business, was super personal, but was recognizing that the things that I offer my clients are so much more than just the thing. It's the whole experience. And that I need to look for more proof of that being true and accepted in order to continue to reinforce my belief around that.
I love that you said that so much, especially for anyone who has not been around the select culture. We have a big I am the event culture, because oftentimes, like I said, people come and join the event, join Epic Select with the thought process like, oh, I'm here to learn about events. And then you get in there and you like, oh, wait a minute. Y'all worried about me more than you are about the thing that I'm about to do, because we get stuck in the doing and feeling like we have to provide tangible products, right? Tangible things. Amanda knows we talked about this. And the reality is we need to just sit in the belief that we are the gift. We are the event. Like, we spending all this time trying to make a room pretty or a deliverable. And the reality is people are investing in us, the presence that we hold, the space that we hold, the mind that we are able to give them to help them work through their next step. Like, we are the event. We are the gift, right? And we are worthy of that transaction because we are the gift. They get access to the gift. And this is something that I love. Lindsay, I've seen you model this time and time again, right? That knowing that, whatever it is that I do, it is a privilege for people to have access to me, right? I'm not for everybody. And that transaction gives you access to who I am so that I can bless your life. And if there was no deliverable, that could be enough. And I think that is something that we really leaned into at the retreat, that we are the event, right? That we are epic, and in our being, not our doing, we are worthy. And I'm so glad that you shared that, Amanda. That was a really, really powerful moment for a lot of people. I know Jatia is not on here, but I also appreciated our after hours session, if you will, because we just sat in the lobby, like who was it? Evelyn said she got her wine and her snacks, and we just sat there and continued to talk through. And we even had some live music, girl. Let me tell you, it was nice. But we sat,
Which
and we
aligned
just,
to Bree's five senses, just to
It did.
say, Bree had said for the listening, I want to hear more live music. And then as we were sitting there, there it was.
boom, there it was, right? Unplanned, but God was planning it. He knew what he was doing. And it was so aligned and it was so good. But being able to hold space with Jatia, who was actually invested in another program. And we were like, and she was frustrated because she felt like in the other program, her question wasn't able to be answered. And we was like, forget the other program. Let's workshop it right here. And she really wanted to workshop her one-liner. And because of us just holding space, we were able to, one, she was able to listen to herself, and we were collectively able to build towards the answer that she needed. And because of that, she actually shifted. If you look at her profile on Instagram, she actually has that one-liner that we workshop for her about her being the problem solver for problem solvers. So it moments like that, I think, is what made the retreat really, really special. And it's something that unfortunately, y'all, we can't completely recreate via an after party, but I would invite anybody who is interested. We'll be sure to stay in touch to share when our next retreat is. Like I said, we have one each quarter. And there are actually 4 left. So one is kind of like in between a quarter. But we do have 4 retreats left. So if you are interested in joining us for another retreat, you have those opportunities. If you are like, I'm trying to be in the select and just let my retreat be covered by my membership, you are welcome to do that as well. So any other questions? And Lindsay, watch your time. Any other questions? I got you. Look, this is what we do. We keep you accountable. We try to keep y'all on schedule. Any other questions, thoughts? I'm going to go ahead and pause for those watching the replay. I'm going to stop the recording here. We'll have Q&A for those who are going to stick around. But if anybody has any questions, concern, I'll leave a link. You can hop on my calendar and we can have the conversation. Thank you so much for joining the after party, and I will chat with you all soon.